Welcome to Sunday Morning with Trevor Phillips. Doctors on strike, demonstrations against asylum seekers, and, of course, Gaza. This morning, Britain feels like a pretty angry place. Well, for the most part, anger by itself rarely changes anything. But occasionally, it is anger that galvanises us into action. This year, we've been marking the 40th anniversary of one of the most famous and most fruitful outbursts of rage in my lifetime. In 1984, Bob Geldof's fury at the fate of children in Ethiopia became the catalyst for Band Aid and then Live Aid. This week, the singers picked up cudgels once again, this time on behalf of children starving and dying in Gaza. He spoke to us earlier before this morning's announcement of what the Israeli Defense Force calls a tactical pause in the fighting. And brace yourself. Geldof's flame of fury is still blazing 4 decades on. Bob, you've written very strongly about the situation in Gaza this week. What made you want to get into it now?
Like everyone else, I would have an opinion about the war itself and its conduct on both sides, but that opinion would be precisely the same as the next guy in the bar. When it comes to famine and starvation, I think I have a right to speak. I've had 40 years of doing this. I was a founding patron of the Genocide, the Aegis Trust for Genocide Studies, which is an arm of the National Holocaust Museum in the UK. And to be honest with you, Trevor, it enrages me to a point beyond comprehension when I see the images that Sky News were publishing and what Dr. Maynard was reporting from inside Gaza. And at that point, I thought that the 40th anniversary of Band Aid, my own past and history with this, I thought I should say something now.
The Israeli view is that there is actually no famine caused by Israel. There's a man-made shortage, but it's been engineered by Hamas. I guess Israelis would say we don't see much criticism from your side of Hamas.
That's a false equivalence, and the Israeli authorities are lying.
They're lying, did you say?
They're lying. Netanyahu lies, is a liar. The IDF are lying. They're dangling food in front of starving, panicked, exhausted mothers. And while they arrive to accept the tiny amount of foods that this sort of set up pantomime outfit, the Gaza Humanitarian Front, I would call it, as they dangle it, then they're shot wantonly. This month, up to now, 1,000 children or 1,000 people have died of starvation. I'm really not interested in what either of these sides are saying. When you target infants and children, when their wounds are no longer capable of healing, when breastfeeding mothers can no longer do this, then everything goes out the window. Talk about recognizing Palestinian states. This, at this point, is a kind of virtue signaling. It's academic. It doesn't matter. This wanton criminality must stop immediately. As an instrument of war,
the Israelis would say
famine and malnutrition is a crime.
You actually say in terms that what we're seeing in Gaza is the responsibility of the whole Israeli people. But I think you'd accept that Mr. Netanyahu doesn't command a majority of the voters in Israel, and he faces regular demonstrations against the war. Isn't it a bit unfair to blame all Israelis for this?
No, because they're the ones at war. Their government is at war in their name. Whatever about the origins of this war, and I would completely agree with everyone as to what happened on October the 7th, inhumane, disgusting, and disgraceful. But we're way, way past that now. We're down to some base level of bestiality. And if the Israeli people are aware of what's been done in their name, and you've had on Sky News, Dr. Maynard reporting exactly where people are being targeted as they queue for food. Let me just finish this. And they're being used, quote, as target practice, so that one day they're targeted their abdomens, the next day young men are targeted in their testicles. Trevor, please, anyone watching this, please, we're way beyond the protestations of this government who are stacked with extremists. And Netanyahu has now gone beyond anything he proposed as his war aim. He's flailing. And the object, the subject of this flailing is these children. And honestly, I don't want to hear from Hamas. I don't want to hear from Netanyahu. Stop this by any means right now.
The Israeli Defense Force, of course, would contest your description of what is happening around
Of
those
course they do.
stations. And
show me an army behaving like they do who doesn't.
But I think that the issue here is we can see demonstrations weekly by Israelis against their own government.
Not enough, mate.
And the point I'm really just making is, isn't it a bit unfair to say this is the Israelis as a whole?
Stop it. Stop it, Trevor. What's unfair is what's happening to these babies. What's unfair is that image that you showed us. That's unfair. 1 hour from, I've been in Gaza, I've been in the West Bank, I've been in Israel many times. What's unfair is that 1 hour from the hunger, people are sitting down to their unthreatened dinners to turn on the next Netflix soap. 1 hour. So if Israelis want to protest, get in your cars. This is very Bob stuff, I know. Sorry about that. Okay. Get in your cars, stuff your cars full of food and drive through that border and let your own army stop you. Stop it. You guys stop it. Shame on you.
What do you make of our own government's reaction so far?
Not enough. And, you know, this is a distractive thing about, oh, let's recognize the state. Absolutely. It should have been done ages ago. But it's not going to make any material difference. Please, Labour MPs, stop signing your letters. You know, stop Prime Minister and that. You know, it's a plain fact that David Lammy would like to immediately recognise it. It's a plain fact Keir Starmer probably would. But he's got Trump, you know, up in Scotland. It's probably he feels it's in Britain's greater interest to stay as close to the US, especially with this variable president at the moment. So there's big pictures in there, but enough. Guys, focus on the issue to hand. It isn't the recognition of the state. That will come inevitably, and the sooner the better. But that isn't the issue with what you are telling us nightly, Trevor. The issue is, can we stop these children and their exhausted and panicked mothers? As you yourself reported, children are, as the FT reported today, children are taking a teaspoonful of salt and as much water as they can drink to fill their bellies. Who are we? Who are we? In Bristol this week, they created the 4th largest computer that can do 23 quintillion deductions in a second. And children are taking a teaspoonful of salt and a belly full of water down the road. Shut up. What have we become that we can do this miracle and perpetuate this atrocity, this agony? Honestly, Trevor, seriously, like, you know, beyond argument, can we all just focus on what's important?
Bob Geldof, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Trevor.
Well, we did invite